Morning, guys. It's Bob, the Green Man, from Mesa, Arizona, Zone 10A. And today, it's supposed to be, well, not here, but in Phoenix, they're calling for 114 out in the suburbs here. It's going to be in the neighborhood of 110, 111. Anyway, it is water day, and we're making sure we give a little extra water today. We're going to wet all this mulch down when we're done. So far, the long end is loving his new home. Look at that. He flowered this year, did not put any fruit on. In fact, the flower right here dropped them all and then started pushing out new growth. Anyway, today's video is going to be about your cold hardiness zone, or the USDA plant hardiness zone. So where I live, most people around me are 9B, which means their low temperature can range anywhere from 25 to 30 degrees. Okay. My specific area in Mesa is actually 10A. And that is just 5 degrees up. So it's anywhere from 30 to 35 will be your low. Now, in Arizona, our lows are a bit different than other parts of the country. I lived in California, and I've lived in Wisconsin. The lows in my neck of the woods are only for a half hour, maybe an hour, and I'm talking in the winter. The coldest it has ever been at my house, and I've been here 6 years, has been 29 degrees. And that lasted for a half hour. Our low temperatures always happen at sunrise. As the sun rises, the pressure changes and the temperature actually goes down. Okay, so we could be sitting at 33 degrees all night. Sun rises, boop, 32. And the weather people want to say frost warning. Well, you take that kind of with a grain of salt. Okay. Let me show you something. I did not protect this last year, and we had no issue at all. Star fruit. You should not let it get below freezing temperatures. Our low last year was 30 degrees. We were at 30 degrees here for around 6 hours for the whole winter. And basically winter in Arizona is the end of December and the first part of January. That low of 30 degrees came about I believe it was the second week of January, like the 9th and 10th. We had 2 or 3 days in a row where it was in the 30s. There's another one that did not get protected. This is ice cream bean. And this is what happens if you don't protect it. But this was the first winter in the ground. not too worried about it because look, it pushed out all this new growth, and in fact, it grew from there all the way up there, reaching into the sun. Barbados cherry, I have never protected this. Plum, pear, they don't need protection. This avocado, I've never cold protected it unless I have new growth on it. If there's new growth, I will throw a blanket or a sheet over top, just because that new growth is very sensitive and we don't want our new growth to be spoiled. A couple more here that I have never protected. That guava right there, that guy, he's never seen, sorry about that, he's never seen a cold protection. And he was planted as a 3-gallon. Over here, I did not protect anything in here. Now, this past winter, the only things that were here were the Suriname cherry, the white sapote, and this sapadilla. Everything else was put in the ground or overwintered and then put in the ground once spring came. The sapadilla had some new growth on it. As you can see, there were some areas in here that died away a bit. I can't tell if you can see them. I have sunglasses on. There we go. So right here, that's where the new growth had died. Okay. And that's to be expected. I bought it in November and planted it, and the new growth perished. But the stuff that was here, like this leaf and this leaf and these leaves, those all were fine. Jamaican cherry. They say that this is cold sensitive. Okay, the tree like this is cold sensitive. Once we get down below 28 degrees, that's where you're going to want to throw something on. This abiu, this thing doesn't really like to be below 30. But again, if it's going to be below 30 for a half an hour, it'll be fine as long as it's protected. Now, this tree, Jamaican cherry, abiu, these bananas, black sapote, Rolenia over there, sandhole, they are frost intolerant. So if we get a frost, and like I said, it doesn't get cold enough long enough for us to really get a frost. If we were to get a frost, I would cover them. So, how did I come up with my house being 10A surrounded by 9B? Well, I lived here for 6 years, 6.5 now. And before that, I lived just across the street for 5 years. So I've really lived in this area for 12 years, and I can get a pretty good gauge at what zone I can be in. what zone I can consider myself. The Groovy Chama with some new growth. This is a little sunburn. It's okay. This was put in the ground about a month and a half ago. That's to be expected. Here's a little sidebar. This is the first summer for this guy. Some people would think he's dead. But he's not. He's still got plenty of life in him. I just have to give him extra water now. And I had to put this shade up for the rest of the summer. Okay. Getting back to our topic here. The coldest it has ever been, here or at my other house, was, like I said, 29 degrees. That was only for an hour. Or I'm sorry, half hour. Okay. So if it's only for a half hour a day, or maybe an hour, I personally would not consider myself in that zone. So say 5-10 years from now, the coldest it gets is 34 degrees. And that happens for 2 hours a day. I would consider my property at that point to be Zone 10B. Now, if it were 34 degrees for 12 hours, okay, that would be considered 10A. But if it's only half hour, 1 hour, even 2 hours, I would consider going up to the next zone. And you can write down your low temperatures. We've got temperature gauges. Hi, Lucy. Hi, baby. We've got temperature gauges all over the yard. There's one back in here by the guava. There's one in the tropical zone over here, and there's one up front that gives us a reading. And sometimes they're misleading because this one will get hit with some sun. It's right there. See that? There it is. Sometimes it'll get hit with the sun and it'll say it is 140 degrees out here. Well, it's not 140 degrees. It's just the sun is hitting that. So I take it with a grain of salt. I'll look and see it's 140 degrees. Well, what's the temperature on the thermometer say? 108? Okay, so we're probably looking at, in that area, is probably somewhere in the neighborhood between 105 and 110. So, to recap, Arizona is a bit different than any other place that I've lived. It might be more close to the desert of California. Las Vegas, even though Vegas is a little bit colder than us. Maybe even parts of New Mexico. Our lows happen as the sun comes up, and it's only a low temperature for a very minimal time. I've got 11, almost 12 years of data to back up my claim. Jammun is putting on some new growth, nice and healthy. And if I didn't think this was relevant, I wouldn't have made a video. So basically, you know, don't be afraid to plant trees like this umbrella. Got some fruit on it. This guy really doesn't like cold weather. I mean, he can get down to 25, 26-ish. Star apple, he get down to 27. But again, I haven't been that cold in this area ever. And there are some pockets of Mesa that get really cold. And then there's some pockets that are actually a tad bit warmer than I am. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. It's kind of a long one. Lots of talking, not showing too much. This is a guava berry. Guava, tropical pink. Jujube is loaded with fruit. And before I go, I want to show you guys my newest addition. Yeah, we're gonna head up to the front yard. We'll see you up there. Here is the newest addition. This is a Ruby Supreme Guava. A couple of little fruit on there. Little guys. I got this from Green Life by Seamus O'Leary. We are gonna tuck this guy right in here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna back out a bit. We're gonna cut this lantana back a bit. And I'm gonna plant him right here. Okay. Guavas take all day sun in Arizona. They love the heat. I think it'll be a good plant or tree for people to walk by and see. Anyway, that's the video for today, guys. I hope you had a great day or great time. Learned something possibly. Maybe you'll use it in your growing situation. Anyway, until next time, guys. Have a great day.